course still waiting for radiator headers, that kind of stuff to show up, but until then I have some trim holes to do on the front fenders. I also want to get everything else mocked up, bolted together completely, and try to line these front fenders, doors up, get everything, all the gaps, all of that set. Okay, so that was quite the fight. I did actually just quit recording because no one wanted to sit there and listen to me cuss and swear at this freaking thing. But we did manage to get everything aligned exactly where it needs to go. Had to open up a few holes with the die grinder here and there, but that'll just make it easier to put it together for final assembly. When we take the nut and bolts that are in it out, I'm going to make a list of them and replace them with some nice button heads with Allen head screws. My plan is these washers that are here, now that everything's tight, I'm going to tack those washers there. And then on the underside holding it together, I do not have nuts on there. I have some steel T-nuts, and I will weld those to the bottom of the inner fender. So when these go back on with my little trim piece, they can only screw on in the exact position they're in now. So there will be no more fiddling, moving stuff around, whatever. And they'll get body worked like that. So when we go to put it back together, it should make life a little bit easier. We are still missing a bunch of parts. Well, not missing them, but they're missing on the car right now. I haven't gotten the whole thing together, but I just had to stop and stare at this for a minute because damn, that looks way cooler than anything GM ever put on the front of a grill. And Pontiac just obviously had their thing and went with it, and it looks fantastic. So we've been doing some imagining. Obviously the grill is on. The hood we just set in place. There are no hinges or anything on it, but it freaking fits beautifully. Got good gaps all the way around. It looks great without the vents up there in the cowl. Looks really good with the grill. That centerpiece will be painted the same red to match. We're debating on what we're gonna do to eliminate the old Acadian emblem that is actually molded into the piece. So we're going to play with that a little bit. We're going to trim the bumper and bring both sides in about 1 inch. And then the cardboard that you're seeing on there are just ideas of what we want to do to fill this lower gap area between the grill and the bumper filler panel. So I'm going to go ahead and get this bumper off, weld the brackets to it, and start dealing with getting these ends tucked in just a hair and welding up the holes where all the bolts and everything go so it's a nice smooth tucked in piece. Get that reinstalled back on the car, and then we'll start working on the sheet metal filler panel for underneath the grill. This is the beginning of the new filler panel that's going to go up underneath the grill and close everything up over here. This is the driver's side, obviously. So I'm going to take that off. I've got a little more messing around to do with it, a bead roll I want to put underneath the light, get it to lock in really nice. And that should screw in to the bottom hole for the headlight and then weld to that bumper filler panel on the bottom, and then we'll run that straight across. But first I need to make a matching one for the passenger side. Here's the two side pieces. Passenger, driver. Driver's side's kicked up a little on the inside, but that's about to get tack welded in place. And then I'll start working on the centerpiece here. But we folded it over on the corner, so we've got a nice seam, not just a hard edge. That wraps down around. And then right behind the headlight bezel, it actually screws in to the framework there where the headlight bucket screws in. So when we go to put this lower bumper filler on, there'll be a screw coming up from the bottom, one into the headlight, and then the rest of this will be welded on. Just a little bit of fiddling to do on this thing, but mostly welded up, ready to go. That is the entire front end, what she's gonna look like. The bumper has been brought in about 3/4 of an inch on each side. That's the Acadian grill. And then we built a custom filler panel to go underneath the grill to fill in that gap between the bumper filler panel, the headlights, and that new grill. The last piece to go on here will be up underneath the bumper. We ordered a little splitter to go up under there that I think we're going to incorporate the intake for the motor and everything into. And that pretty much takes care of the fabrication on the front. We got the hood on. Did some little adjustment to get the grill fitting up really nice. I still got to put the latch and everything on yet, but before we get too much further, we're going to see how well this radiator fits that we picked up from Justin over at Be Cool.